So first of all, I would like to say that it's really a big honor for me to be here, and I thank you for inviting us. Actually, I travel 4,500 kilometers to come here from the other end of Europe, Cyprus, which is my country. Sorry that I don't speak Spanish. If I speak in Greek, in my language, I'm sure you will understand nothing, so I will use English, if it's okay. And I traveled these 4,500 kilometers to be here for two main reasons. I couldn't refuse this invitation to come here. First of all, I believe that congresses like this are very important for our industry because we produce a product that everybody needs, essential product. We come in contact with aggregates at every single second of our life. And if there were no aggregates, there would be literally nothing around us. And congresses like this are very important in order to show to the society, to the community, what we are doing and how we are doing it. And the second reason that I couldn't refuse the invitation is because the Spanish Association is one of the big members and historic members of UEPG. So we have to be here. And we have to be here also because the Spanish Association is one of the most active members of UEPG. We have Cesar and Jame that really they do much more than what it is expected from them to do. And I would like to thank them on behalf of the board of UEPG in front of you to say a big thank to Cesar and to Jame for their services in our association. Now, what are aggregates? If you go outside in the community, in the society, and you ask the people, in Spanish it's áridos, if you ask them what is aggregates, I'm sure most of them they don't know. They don't know this word. So aggregates, of course, it's crushed rock, yeah? It's sand, it's gravel, it's marine aggregates, it's manufactured aggregates, it's recycled aggregates, and as I said already, aggregates build just everything around us. It's our roads, our ports, our airports, schools, hospitals, it's everything around us. And of course, without aggregates, surely there will be no life as we know it and comfortable life as we know it today. So just to build an average house, you need around 400 tons. An average school, you need around 3,000 tons. A kilometer of motorway, you need 30,000 tons. And a kilometer of railway, you need around 9,000 tons. And a few numbers about the European aggregates industry. We have a demand in Europe of around 3 billion tons, which are produced in 26,000 quarries around Europe. And these 26,000 quarries belong to around 15,000 companies. Each one of us, each European citizen is consuming around 6 tons of aggregates per year. And this industry, this European aggregates industry, is employing around 187,000 people. These are the productions per country. Of course, Germany is dominating with around 600 million tons. Spain is number 6 with around 140 million tons. And these are actually the countries of EU members, and EFTA and UK only we show here on this graph. And a breakage, let's say, of the aggregates in the European market, we have around 46.8% which are crushed rock, then 39.9% is sand and gravel, 9.1% is recycled aggregates, and then we have manufactured aggregates and marine aggregates with lower percentages. And as you can see, the last, let's say, 10 years, this breakage more or less is the same. So there's no change in the aggregates we are consuming all these years in Europe. And if we see the last 15 years, you can see we were back in 3.7 billion back in 2006. Then it was the recession, we all know. And the industry started to catching up, let's say, about 2015, 2016. We can see that 2020, where we had the beginning of the pandemic, our industry proved to be resilient, so we didn't have any reduction in the demand of the aggregates. And 2021, We have preliminary numbers for 2021. It was around 3.14 million. Now we go to the UEPG roadmap. Actually, our roadmap, we launched it last September. It was in Brussels. During our late summer reception, we had guests from the European Commission. We had members of the Parliament. We had guests also from the other associations of the other extractive industry. And in our roadmap, we actually outlined the policies, the strategies, and the initiatives needed for our industry. And we also identify the opportunities and the challenges that our industry is having and it may face. And in the roadmap, we state actually what we need, what we promise, and what we will deliver. So what we need? We need, of course, sustainable access to local resources. And we need this in order to optimize the transportation of our products to the market, because we are set to be a low footprint of CO2 emissions. So we have about 3 to 5 kilograms per ton of aggregates produced. But if you transport the aggregates longer distances than 40 kilometers, then you end up having more CO2 from the transportation than the production of the aggregates. So it is very important to have access to local resources, not 100 kilometers away from the cities, from the demand. And of course, resources are everywhere around Europe, but in most countries, accessing them, it's not an easy thing. So we need streamlined, efficient national land use planning and permitting policies in order to achieve this access to local resources. And recycling is part of our business model, and therefore we need regulations facilitating a circular economy. And we need this in order to increase the resource efficiency. And in UEPG structure, we have a dedicated task force for better implementation and regulatory enforcement, because we need a level playing field for all through consistent implementation of the EU law. What we promise: even though our industry consists mainly of SMEs, it's a fact, we are the largest extractive industry in Europe. So we promise, since we are the largest, we promise a professional representation of our industry. And since we are professionals, it goes without saying that we promise also a responsible sourcing and excellence in delivering high-quality products. And of course, we also promise to showcase our industry as a high-tech sector offering attractive careers for forward-thinking people. And as I said already, everybody needs aggregates, and we come in contact with aggregates at every single second of our life, but unfortunately, the society doesn't recognize the value of the aggregates and the value of having them available. So we promise to improve the public awareness of aggregates as an essential product to the society. Now, what we will deliver? We will deliver biodiversity net gain in both extraction and restoration. We have around Europe hundreds of cases, all of them scientifically, with scientific evidence, and most of them are on our website as well, which prove that biodiversity increases both in restored, in rehabilitated quarries, but also in the active, in the existing quarries. And we have a dedicated task force for biodiversity, and very recently we set up a task force from experts in order to sit down and come up with indicators, because we want to show this not only with scientific evidences, but also with numbers. And parallel to biodiversity, we will, of course, deliver a responsible environmental stewardship. And we always say this: if there are no aggregates, there will be literally nothing around us. So if we want to have climate change mitigation and adaptation, we need aggregates. Without aggregates, we cannot have this because a lot of infrastructure will be needed in order to achieve this. We always say that businesses that do not put their employees first don't last long. This is a fact. Our industry is here to stay. So we will deliver a healthy and safety and well-being for our people is very, very high in our priorities. The NIMBY effect, we heard a lot today about the NIMBY effect, is a big issue for our industry. Therefore, we will foster better links and communications with the local community. And we will further extend good practice exchanges between the UEPG members, but also between the GAIN members. And this reminds me of a friend of mine, because it's very important to exchange ideas and good practices. And this reminds me of a friend of mine who says that if you have €1 and I have €1 and we exchange it, we end up having €1 each. But if you have one idea and I have one idea and we exchange them, we end up having 2 ideas each. So it's very important to exchange ideas and good practices around. Now, in order to achieve these promises and deliverables we have in our UEPG roadmap, we have the so-called 9 UEPG actions, which are very extensively described in our roadmap. Thanks to our Spanish colleague, it is already translated in Spanish, so you can download it in order to see it. But let me go very quickly in a nutshell to describe these actions. Action number 1, contributing to climate neutrality. UEPG and its members will promote energy efficiency, will promote the electrification of the machinery and the use and production of renewable energy on site. Action number 2, essential for the EU climate change, we will showcase different examples of how the European aggregates industry is needed to support this climate change adaptation. Action number 3, aggregates key to renovation wave for the EU Green Deal. We will support green public procurement to ensure sustainability sourced primary and secondary aggregates are used for the renovation wave. Action number 4, the EU's dependency on aggregates. We will make use of our active role in the industrial alliances in order to shape, let's say, to assist and shape many regulations. Action number 5, circular by definition. With our recycling task force, we will provide guidance on end of waste for aggregates. Action number 6, a key partner for EU biodiversity. By 2030, we want to have these indicators that we have set up the new task force. We want to have these indicators in place, and we want to use them for several years in order to have results to show up. And about biodiversity, I forgot to say, and actually last night I saw Dr. Caroline, who was the moderator in October when we had an event in Brussels signing with Bird of Life Europe, signing the Code of Conduct, together with Eurogypsum, together with Heidelberg Cement. And for us, as we said during that event, for us it was a code of honor, because we want to produce, we want to operate responsibly, we want to operate sustainably, but of course we have to take care about biodiversity because it's our environment, it's our lives. Action number 7, ensuring safe and healthy workplaces. By 2030, the European aggregates industry aims at further improving training rates and to have a digitally skilled workforce. And we want to make our industry also more attractive to young people, to young engineers, and also most important for us, to women. Action number 8, implementation and enforcement of EU legislation. As I said already, we have a dedicated task force for this, and our aim is to shape the existing legislation rather than to bring in more legislation and make the whole system more bureaucratic. Action number 9, support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by contributing together with GAIN. We try, in order to contribute to these goals, to show our sustainability. And this reminds me actually of my first speech as president of UEPG was in beginning of September. We were invited to go at the IUCN World Congress. It was in Marseille. So we went there, and they asked us to make a presentation. The subject was sand scarcity and infrastructure and nature coalition. And we were invited to go there by UNEP, the United Nations Environmental Program, and by WWF, the World Wildlife Fund. We went there, we made our presentation, and then these guys, these big NGOs, they got up and they said, these guys, they know what they are doing. And they were meaning, of course, the European aggregates industry. And they added to this that the European aggregates industry is part of the solution, and it is a very good example to be followed worldwide. And this makes us very proud. Once again, thank you very much for inviting us here, and we wait you in Cyprus after 3 weeks, because we have our delegates assembly, the UEPG delegates assembly will be in Cyprus. So now Caesar and Jame have to make these 4,500 kilometers. Thank you.